bass drum mallet through my bass drum head. To get a new bass drum head.
You're an animal. It's just unbelievable.
No, I mean, I don't know.
That was a Sugarfoot Moffat, famous for playing with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So you got to sweeten up the feet.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that even in my youth, but maybe one thing I didn't do with this is I didn't put on that little sticker, right, on the head to reinforce it. What can you do?
Well, I don't know. I can't even remember. I've got different bass drums, so. But that sticker, it wouldn't hurt. But the gig is to learn how to make proper motions with feet.
Yeah.
Again, it's.
I can work on that.
It's akin to what we're doing with our hands. It's so slightly different, but it's still just the lever system.
Yeah.
The whole body. There's no getting away from that, you know. And it really is a way to consider the technique. It makes it more simple to understand, right? Because now what we're doing is we're getting rid of the metaphors. You know, I was mentioning to you, because you're not familiar with Freddie Gruber, for instance, who was like one of the hands guys out here on the West Coast. You know, Murray and Richard Wilson, Murray Spivack and Richard Wilson were known as, well, they're like the West Coast guys, you know, but they're both from, and Freddie, they were all from New York. They moved out here. So I don't know about calling them the West Coast guys, right? They were East Coast guys. But Freddie Gruber was known also for teaching some very famous players, and he had an approach that works for a bunch of people, and but everybody had their metaphors, you know. People that studied with and there's nothing wrong with, you know, there's nothing wrong with metaphors. You know, I was talking to Vinnie Caliute about that. He said, I like metaphor. He finds it really helpful. So depending on the student or the timing, a metaphor can be very helpful. But this idea of, you know, the puppet on a string, well, it can be helpful, but it's not a puppet. We're not puppets on a string. Or the idea of it's like throwing a ball. Well, Dick would call it a throw, but it's not going to be like, it's modified in some way. It's smaller than that. And then Dick Wilson would say it's hammer and a nail, which it does feel like that, but this isn't a hammer. And then over here, traditionally you're flicking water off your fingertips, but there's no water, you know. So the metaphors can kind of get in the way. I think it was Gladstone that used to put a glass of, I think it was, be careful, but one of the great old teachers would put a glass of water in front of the pad or on the pad, and you were to like dip your hand into it to help you get that motion, which is interesting. I think he also used carbon paper. Just put it on the drum or the pad to see where you were striking, and you take the paper off and you go, it was either really good or we don't know. So the idea of this thing just being force to resistance over a fulcrum to a lever arm or the beam is what's going on. Every joint in our body is a fulcrum. So the wrist is a fulcrum. We have a fulcrum in the hand. And so the feet, although Dick would say the feet are more easy to get because you're not dealing with fingers. You don't have to consider that. He would talk about how the toes would follow through, you know, just spread your toes out. And he'd make a big deal. You had to come in specifically in between your lesson, your regular hands lessons, and he'd pull out his Rogers bass drum from under the grand piano. It'd be so dusty, it would take him 40 minutes to dust it off. You'd wait. This had been meditation, and then we'd get on with the lesson. So we'll get to feet. because not having feet is a real problem, because you really want to sound settled. Dick would always comment on, listen how settled that drummer sounds, right? And that has a lot to do with not just the hands, but the feet as well.
Sure.
So, okay, so we'll work on that. Do you know what sound the snare drum would make? Dick would call it Kevin, it's just a blat, blat.
Okay.
So you want to hear that? That's what the snare drum sounds like. And then he'd say, and what is the bass drum supposed to sound like? Because what I used to want to do, and I get the wooden beater because I wanted the bass drum to be loud. Because no, it's a pat. It's a pat. So you're probably playing your bass drum louder than you probably need to. There's supposed to be a balance.
Certainly.
Right? So we'll get into that. I told you we should get on the drums. I feel compelled. They're kind of pretty to look at there behind you. So we'll do that. In the meantime, with the feet, we're rolling up and making a motion, just like we do with the hands. And if we're going to play flat-footed, which I ask you to do while you're on your practice pad, Dick would always say, feet with maiselle. And maiselle is, tell you don't know, you're a lawyer. You're not supposed to know Freddie Gruber or maiselle. Maiselle was the inventor of the metronome.
Oh.
Feet with maiselle. Yeah. And so he'd want you to play flat-footed on the ground, on the floor. And he'd talk about just turning your ankles and biting the floor with the bottom of the foot, right? So while you're playing, if you can keep the feet going, after a while, what you'd learn as a student of Richard Wilson's is that the feet were like automatic pilot. You kind of don't need to think about it too much. So that's another thing you might want to consider to help your feet.
Yeah.
Always keep them going while you're playing. Pull out the single strokes exercise. Pardon.
All right.
Okay, so let's try it this way. We're going to play the even numbers. When I say even numbers, that's probably the sticking that doesn't include the and.
Okay.
Okay, so if we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the next iteration is also 3, but it's 1, 2, 3, and 1. We're going to avoid all of the strokes that are ending with
5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15.
Okay, so and what we're going to do is we're going to play these. We're going to turn, and we're going to play the iteration. Perhaps I'm making this up. Then we're going to keep it going. Keep it going, and when we're done, we're going to go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay?
All right.
See if you can get that good.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Now, this is why I wanted to turn a little higher. And if you see, when you have the time to watch that little girl, so you'll see all of this stuff. Right? She's down at the floor. She has this really nice big wrist turn. She's making upstrokes, downstrokes, playing doubles, turning wrists, rocking. So what I want you to get, this is something that is so important. I'll reinforce it as we go along.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't get this now, we'll be working on it later, which is cool. but it's never going to go away. So what we want to get is this. So I'm coming up, let's just stay on the right for a minute. I know your left is a little funky because of your index finger injury. But so what we want to do, stay in the right for a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so we have the stick laying in the middle finger and wedged up against the meaty part of the palm. And then we're going to put our first finger and thumb on there. And we're going to be as palm down as possible, because with this wrist as a fulcrum, you'll find that it turns very naturally in this direction. Murray would talk about that. French is fine for fingers and for, you know, maybe mezzo, but mostly pianissimo, because it doesn't really turn this way. It goes into anybody who plays French goes to play a backbeat, they always go into some palm down, right? So he wanted to, why don't we learn how to stay in palm down and not have to switch to it for power? Okay, so really palm down. Now what we want to do is feel that floor. I cannot tell you how important this feeling is. I'm always working on it to this day, searching, want to be at the floor, or nothing works. This technique will not work if you have the floor. Okay, so you have this floor. There's an alignment of the forearm. You see, you're nice and parallel. Your forearm is parallel to the floor right now. The stick is an extension of the forearm, slightly angled away, not completely lined up with it. And what we're doing is we're turning and coming back to that floor. We just want to go plunk. There's a good one. Plunk. There's a good one. Plunk. There's a good one. See? Plunk. And then we're right here at the floor. And it feels like it almost has a feeling of like you're holding on to, like you're holding on to a handlebar. It's like this thing is stable. Like you're on your bike and you're holding the, and it doesn't go right. There's that feeling here. You turn up, but it has that feeling. Down at the floor. That's where you're. That's where the lever arm begins and ends. And it has a feeling like you're holding on to a handlebars, perhaps one way. And you're just focusing. That's good. See, now you're coming back down to the floor. I really want you to focus on that 3-finger grip, because the gig is to not do this. There's none of this at all. This technique is not about using fingers, because it's half the effort, twice the speed. If you start to use your fingers for rebounds, it's finger, 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 finger. But with this technique, we can get it to rock over the fulcrum and just turn once, and it goes da 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 da. So it's, if you are looking for 4 rebounds, instead of muscularly activating the stick for 4 notes, you're only muscularly activating the stick for 1 turn. At that point, you can get 4 notes for free. So we don't want to use the fingers. We're not using the fingers. We could later on. No fingers. Just hold on to it here and turn your wrist. And turn your wrist. Hold that stick and turn your wrist. Turn your wrist. Whatever happens in the hand happens, but you're just holding the stick and turning your wrist. So you're not going to see that butt end. You're going to see the stick essentially moving with the wrist. If you open up your hand, it'll do this. As you turn up, it'll do this. Now look, I've got that much stick height, but look how much my wrist is turned. In this technique, to get this level of stick height, look at my wrist. It's not very severely turned because I've opened my hand. A lot of guys play that way. What this technique does is to get to this height, You have to turn the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Now the wrist is at a more severe angle because you've turned it and you haven't thrown your hand open to get stick height. Right. Okay. So play the first iteration once and then go into it consistently. And see if you can maintain that. And a nice high turn. Don't go back down to a little turn. I want you feeling that whole range of palm down turn.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Turn higher.
1, 2, 3.
Turn up to here.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
The idea is you want to feel your arms just hanging while you're doing that.
2, 1,
every time, play half that speed. Look what the hand is doing that isn't playing. It's waiting, isn't it? It just waits. It just waits. See, it waits. Do that. Play half that speed, just to feel the waiting. Don't open your hand up and turn higher. I want to see the hand doing. I want to see the wrist turning, like that. See the hand waiting? See it just resting right there at the floor, isn't it? Right there at the floor. Okay, now play the speed of the exercise, probably twice that speed. 1, 2, 3. Don't lose your height of turn. Don't lose your height of this. I want to see this. As though there's no stick. Just this.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay, now move on to 4.
2, 3.
Maintain the height of turn. Turn a little faster.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Doesn't it in the hand? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right?
Yeah.
And
1, 2, 3, 4.
use your height of turn.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
3-finger grip.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't lose your height of turn. Don't lose that. Nothing.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Higher.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
Turn, turn, turn.
1, 2, 3, 1,
Put your hand open. It's good, good, but look, you're not at the floor. Yeah, turn higher. That's it, I know. That'll bust you. Turning higher will challenge you here.
1, 2, 3, 1,
4, 4, 4. Your grip. Palm down in the left. Yep, not at the floor in the left, especially. Stay palm down. Go through it in slow motion. Show me what a left hand wrist turn looks like. No, left hand. No, just go up slowly. Go up higher. A little higher. There you go. If you feel your 3-finger grip, take your 4th off. It looks real curled around and clinging. You can take it right off. You don't even need it. There. Yeah. Look, now it's a 3-finger grip. There, right. Yeah, don't throw it open. It'll wobble around too much. You got to hold it in there, man. You got to hold it right there. Some thumb is sending energy somewhere in between those 2 fingers. Look. Yeah, there you go. It's real solid with a narrow potential focal. Much better, you see? That's to the floor. That's where it comes. Turn, go tap, 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 tap that height. And then stop to see if you're at the floor. Tap. No, you lost your height. You can't cheat.
Oh.
That's it. Now hold on to it. Hold on to that darn. No, don't hold it and turn and stop at the floor. Bam, bam, yeah. Like that. Much better. Okay, now see if you can play 4 and maintain a high turn and the floor. Go for it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Floor. 3-finger grip. Hang on. Turn higher. Dick would scream it. Oh, that's it. There you go. Yeah. Just slamming down without you doing much. It almost feels to be gravity. As fast as you come up is as fast as you come down. As high as you come up has something to do with how it comes down, right? It'll affect the volume. Okay, now go to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. I see.
Up, floor, floor,
3, 4, 5.
floor.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that was good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Keep it going now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5. Turn the rest.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Hey, stop and show me the floor. Okay, now what I want is you've lost your angle. This has come in like this now. So that speed messed up the quality of your, it's like it's foundational, right? This is our foundation. And our foundation, if we were to build a structure of any considerable size, and the engineer created the foundation like this for the height of whatever it is they're building, and somehow whoever's taken the plans over and doing the project supervisor, he's moved the foundation so it's like this. The building's just going to the building will topple. We can't lose this. This is our foundation. It's got to stay. It's like a 30-degree angle, right? We want it to be here. There you go. Why would you lose that just because you're turning higher? Why? Go for it. 5. 5 challenge you. Don't pull in. You don't need to pull in. You just need to turn your wrist. Yeah, come on.
2, 3, 4, 5.
There you go. Go to 6. Go to 6. 6. Don't touch your foundation.
6.
Come on, calm down on that.
6.
The wrist turns this way, not this way.
6.
Calm down. Hang on to that stick.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, now, Patrick,
5, 6.
one more thing, because it's definitely getting better. Sounds more authoritative. But I notice that when you get to the end of the series of notes, I think we're see, this doesn't suddenly go like that. That's what happens. You finish, because I think you're squeezing the hell out of it, and then it does that. Now you are holding it firmly, but it doesn't need to change. You're just going to hold it like this. Now just do this with me. And stop. Yeah, see, it hasn't changed. Now your space, or we call it, Freddie Gruber would call it the sound chamber. There's a Freddie Gruberism for you. Don't lose your sound chamber. That's one of it's there's sound being projected. Don't lose that. It's that cool. Go for it. 6. Sound chamber foundation.
4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7, not bad. Go to 7.
5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn your wrist. Okay, go to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Turn your wrist. 3-finger grip. You don't need all those other fingers. Stop. All right, you're back at the floor. It's got a little, it went into a little half turned over, but not bad. See? Better. Okay, so work on this again, just like that. Okay? Got to maintain the height of the turn and consider all these things. It's a lot, but it's not that much. We want a more severe angle, which means we're really turning our wrists. We want to hold on to this 3-finger grip. That's your fulcrum potential. We want to maintain a sound chamber, and we want to maintain the integrity of the Eiffel Tower. We don't. It won't look good when, you know, that thing falls over and I go, what happened? Okay, so very cool. Let's take a look at, we were working on the Feint and Flam into the Flamadiddle. Now, once again, what was the Flam and Feint, actually, right? The Flam and Feint into the Flamadiddle. Okay, now once again, so much of a lot of what we just worked on is going to apply. Okay? That's why really getting nerdy about these little things that don't seem important is really cool, because they'll benefit you in the very next stroke. It's like, oh, here it is again, and it, as Murray would say, you see, the whole thing becomes, if you follow this course of action, the whole thing becomes much more simple to understand. Okay, so if we have the Flam and Feint at 40, what do we have? We know we're going to need that 3-finger grip. We know we need the floor. Now we've introduced something new, but it's going to be hugely attached. It's going to be very much attached to the floor, and that this single stroke that we're getting into now, Murray's famous single stroke.
I'm still listening. I just need to plug in my machine here.
Go ahead. I'll pad. But we're looking at Murray's famous single stroke, not to be confused with the exercise that we just played, which was the Murray Spivack Percussion Studio single strokes. That's just a series of exponentially sped up alternating singles. What we're looking at now in the Flam and Feint is the single stroke. Now, once again, just like half the effort and twice the speed has a lot to do with not using our fingers and just learning to use the wrist. Again, here's an example of half the effort and twice the speed, because now we're getting 2 strokes with 1 motion. So as Murray and Dick would say, the up is free. Up, and then you throw. The up is free. The up is free. But look where we're coming back to. We want to come back to that. Do it in the right. Show me a single stroke. You use less arm. You don't need that much arm. Pretty good though, not bad. Now let's modify it. Just get into it a little more. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn and get a note. And we'll notice that as we turn, there's some action that happens in the wrist. And if you were to just turn from parallel and stay here, you'd feel as though you'd leveraged up around what Richard Martinez calls the fixed point in the universe, ever so slightly. But you don't need to lift your arm to do it. It's counterintuitive. There it is. But I need you to now. You got the up, like 3 really good ones. It's much smaller than you think, and the motion is connected to the note. We don't move if we're not making a note. There's that level of efficiency. But what we want to do is what you didn't do, which is what you did learn to do in the last exercise, which is turn your wrist. Turn your wrist. You actually have to see this turn. See, here we are again. So we're getting this. Watch. We're getting that first little note, which is much smaller than you think. We just turn it, and then we gotta turn the wrist. Aha. Come on, smaller with the up. No, here's what you're doing. Here's what you're doing. I should take this look off my face. That's not fair. I'm sorry. Right, yeah. But that's not what this technique is. If you're doing this much arm and only turning this high, it means it's mostly, this is arm. This is arm. What I want is wrist. I want wrist. There you go. See, it's mostly wrist. Focus on really turning up to the ceiling. 3-finger grip, back to the floor. Maintain your sound, not bad. Maintain your sound chamber in the left. I know your first finger, I want to be considerate of what you're dealing with there. See, there you go. Don't go out to the side on your up and the left. It goes straight up and then cocks to the ceiling. Now watch. I can let you go like this. Dick would do that, and 10 years later, he'd be telling it again. What you're doing when you go up, this is the subtlety we're looking for. If you're going out to the side like that, where would that, what would that potentially indicate with regards to what direction you're going to go? You know, if I'm going to like toss a frisbee, you can kind of tell which direction I'm going to go. If I'm going to throw down the mic, you can kind of tell. The famous mic drop. You know, if you're moving in this direction, it's likely you're going to go this way. Okay, which you are. But I want the stick to go like this. I want the butt end to go. Dick would say lead with the butt end. It should go straight up. The only change in angle is in the stick relative to the floor. There you go. It's more efficient. You don't go out to the side. Then you're going to cock your wrist up, not to the ceiling, but to the corner of the room. There you go. Now go into the Flamadiddle. Put metronome on at 40. All right, good. Okay, let's try to remember all that stuff. I thought you were going to start with the Flam and Feint.
Oh, you said Flamadiddle. All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I do. I want you to go to the Flamadiddle. Let's start with the Flam and Feint. Hold on. One sec. It might be me. So if we're at 40, huh? And 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 2. That speed is slower. Now when you go to play the Flamadiddle, you're playing 16th notes, which isn't as it's written, but we discussed this. Now go play 16th notes.
Flamadiddle now?
Now you're going to the Flamadiddle, counting 16ths and playing 16ths.
1 and 2.
It's the same motion. A little bend forward and then cock to the ceiling more. Back to the floor. That's pretty good, Patrick. Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah. Now go ahead and bring the metronome up to 48. This stroke isn't really all about speed. I want you to get the motion. So that's what we're going to be turning. There's our little wrist turn that we already worked on. Of course, you were up here, just go, but now we're a little lower, which was comfortable for you. And we're going to go up, right? We're there's the Feint and Flam, or the Flam and Feint. See, it's built in. Go for it. Just the Flamadiddle. Focusing on where is the upstroke, which you have. Don't lose your little leverage in the up. Where's the up? Up. There it is. There it is. Better. There it is. So you really have to know where that up is. Watch the sound chamber in your left. It'll help you stop down. Don't change your foundation. Widen out your foundation a little bit. Keep playing. Keep playing. Just widen it out a little. Give yourself a bigger slice of pizza. You know, yeah. You're in New York. Go and get one of those killer slices. Don't get the little slice. Okay, good. Okay, that's as fast as I want you to go because it started to break down. Notice? Just a little bit. So now we're just going to work on the Flamadiddle from 48. Sorry, from 40 to 48. /52. Have fun with it. But if you start to lose your foundation, if you lose the floor, if you lose where is the up really, and it's just sort of willy-nilly, it's really got to be precise and accurate. And that will give you the speed. As certain things come up, if you don't know exactly where that up is, you're never going to feel it. That feeling that you just had, you're successful with, won't be there for you. You're going to be needing that feeling as we go along all the time. So that was really cool. Again, now we're going to tap into that feeling again. We're going to go to the up and down motion exercise. Okay. Let's see if I can just modify this, and we'll check on whether or not you can maintain this understanding, this tactile experience. It's a feeling, and we lock it in by recognizing what it is we're doing with our body. The two reinforce each other, and we're building engrams, right? Okay, so we're actually physically changing the shape of our brains, right? Which is why the brain dimples, to create more surface space. So the more dimpled your brain, the smarter you are. You probably have a pretty dimply brain, like you're figuring.
I hope so.
Right? Okay, so what we're doing is we're working on the 16th notes. I'm keeping this moving because I know you have a deadline. So we're working on the 16th notes. And let's see if, and as Murray has indicated, there's an arrow going down on the first note, which is an accent. We have the band has arrived. The band coming in. Cool.
That's my son.
There. Is he the one studying piano, or is he the karate expert? I'm trying to.
He's piano, yeah.
Piano? Beautiful. So you're building the band.
Slowly but surely.
Be the hip Partridge Family. Okay. So what we're doing is we're playing this this accent with the downstroke and arrow pointing down.
Mm-hmm.
What Murray has done is it's not any old place in between notes. It's on the third note, which is the next right, alternating right to left. It's your up. Now you've got to feel for that up, that little leveraging up around the 6th point. That cannot go away. Not bad. Cock your wrist to the ceiling. Not too much movement. See, I don't want to see a lot of this. Watch. Don't want to see a lot of this. This tells me it's your bicep muscle. I want to watch. Instead of this, just feel this. Instead of this, see, look, I'm cocking my wrist like you said. No, not quite. Watch. The arm's going to move less. Look how little. See, look how little the arm's moving. We're dipping our fingers in the Gladstone glass of water, and we're flicking. You see, it's not this. You won't get that water off your fingers if you do this. There's a little flick. There you go, better. Really cock more dramatically to the ceiling. Like when you really started to wail on that singles exercise, you are wham, 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 you're way up in the air. Do that. Come on, way up. But don't throw not the arm, the wrist. Yeah, but you got to lead just that little break in the wrist to get it. And then really cock your wrist. Follow that up. It's like you're going to throw it behind your shoulder, but don't. Come on. Just a little bit to say, we're going that way. We're going up. Yeah, it's coming. Not bad. That's not bad. Okay, now just add the other notes and keep that going. Add the upstroke with that. See, it's right there. You got to move up. There it is. You got to move just a little though, right with the note in the wrist area. Too much, too much. You lost your less. It's right. A little break is right in concert with the note. There it is, and cock and cock. And the left hand is just turning. Like you were successful with playing singles, but now we're down low. Okay, so that's cool. Not bad. So, if I'm going to create an exercise, shit. Yeah, I rely on that. See? Then we could go to the 6/8, but we'll be just maintaining the same speed. 1 and 2. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Click, click. So now you're just playing 3/2 or over 4. It's like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Right? It's not triplets, but it'll be the same pattern that's written below Murray's 6/8 pattern. So go from one to the other. Now you're going to have to introduce the upstroke. Before you do that, just show me the 6/8 by itself. Oh, you got the speed right away, man. That's good. Remember, there's that tiny little break where you're not doing this. It's this tiny little thing that's in concert with the note. Tap, whack, and then you cock up to your chin. You know? Yeah, learn to turn your wrist and get an accent without a lot of arm motion, with a nice, cool 3-finger grip. Good, do it.
It'll take some work. It's interesting because it'll be a fight to stay close, to stay small.
Right?
I'm used to going big.
Oh, you are. That's what you see out there most of the time, you know, or the molar. When that little girl, we're just hoping nobody gets a hold of her and mucks her up. Just leave her alone. Don't start to teach her some weird stuff. It's perfect. She's doing this. When you watch her, you'll see it. You'll see what I'm talking about. She's tiny and playing so authoritatively. Go for it.
Speaking of kids, I saw an old friend of mine and his son, who is 10 or 11, is starting to play. Are you taking young students?
I'll take anyone who's serious and wants to, you know, get into it and actually do some practicing.
You know, I'll pass your name along. I have no idea. I mean, he sounds like he's interested. I don't really know this kid, so he seems like a potential serious person. You never know.
Well, it's neat to get a hold of someone before they have been tainted by some of the weird stuff out there.
And that's the trick. I mean, when I see young kids starting to play, I think Kevin's got to get a hold of these guys, because no one got a hold of me when I was that age, and I could have used it.
I know. So see if you can put this off before we.
All right. So 6/8 or
6/8, but we're not in 6/8. You're playing 3/4 and the speed of the 16th previous. 1 2 3. You really want to drop that upstroke, so there's going to be a little turn, and then you got to drop and leverage up. There, see, it's much different. Don't go up sideways. See, if you're in palm, we're more palm down, it'd be easier to go up towards the ceiling. Come on, drop it straight down. You be aware of where that up is. Up or down, as I say. Right? I have you saying down. But you can't. You want to dig that pole vault into the surface and leverage the little guy up, which that little guy is your hand. There it is. Leverage, 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 leverage. In sync with the note. Leverage, leverage. Cock to the ceiling more. Come on. Make sure that there's that little right there. Good. Okay. Now go back to groups of 4. No, that would work. always come back to the same hand. It might be hard for you to keep track, keep your feet going. So we'll always come back to the same hand. That's fine. But we can also start at left. We'll either start at right or left. Okay? Now pop the metronome up. Let's just check out your ability to maintain this tactile feeling. So if we're at 40, put it up to 48.
Oh, I was doing 48 there. So
now you're showing off in front of your son.
Wow.
Again. Now put it at 60. Just get the thing in 4 right now. Come on, no, just watch me. Watch me. See, I'm really at the floor, and I dip down. Be careful with the word dip. I leverage up, so it's just either a throw or a leverage. Now, when I go to play in 3, 1, 2, now it's just a little turn. Now it's a leverage. Now in the right, watch my right. It's a throw, a little turn at parallel, and now it's a leverage. A little turn at parallel, throw, a little turn. A leverage, a little turn, 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 leverage. They got to be that consistent. 3-finger grip. Go for it. Foundation. Leverage. Out of the floor, you'll have nothing to leverage. You'll be out of reach. Leverage, 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 leverage. Turn, little turn, leverage, leverage, throw. Right, you're getting it? Yeah, you're getting it. No, sideways, straight up in the left. Foundation, give yourself more real estate. Open up that foundation. Straight up, yeah, that's right, right. Here, straighten out the shoulders. Weight on your feet and on the rear end on your stool. You're nice. That's another foundation. All right, Pat. Yeah, man. Yes, I'm gonna have you work on that. Combining the two. You can put that on the drums, and as you get this going, you'll probably be able to speed that up. You put that on the drums, and you put up a solo, and people will think that you're a full-time musician. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, pass my number along to. I'd be happy to have a chat with anyone that you suggest that you think is serious. Okay.
I'll pass your info along. Who knows if they'll give you a ring, but I hope they will, because I think that's the age to get this, you know?
But what is that saying? Don't turn yourself down. Let the world turn you down.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I'm turning off the camera. It's always a pleasure.